Welcome back. Oh, damn. Oh, no. Hi, welcome to my favorite podcast. I'm one of your favorite co-hosts, Aaron Unsweeney.
And I'm your favorite co-host, Ty Turner. And I'm looking down because I'm on my phone.
Yes, we're Skyping from Ty's phone because his headphones exploded. So we're doing this now. So pretend that I'm Ty's crotch and he's just talking down to me, being like, "Hey, what's up?"
They did. I was looking for my headphones to try to show you guys, but I left them downstairs. They're like in pieces. It's not good.
Yeah, it was a sight. Like one dramatically dangling little piece. I'm like, yeah, no, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
Making it work. I don't know. They've just sort of been breaking, and they just got to their limit, and something happened. I don't remember if I did it or if somebody else was using them. So it's hard to say. If I did it, I didn't notice like that amount of breakage happening, but like they've been on the verge for a while. I need to replace them.
I prefer when I'm the one who breaks something of mine, because I get to be mad at myself. But when someone else breaks something of mine, I'm like, oh, and now like I can't be like visibly upset because then that's gonna upset them. So you're like, it's fine, and you're like, oh, it's not. It sucks. But like when I do it, I get to be like, God damn it, Aaron. But you can't do that to someone else. That's shitty. So yeah,
of course.
Don't share your things. I'm joking. I'm kidding.
Don't share your stuff. That's the age-old saying.
The moral of the story:
sharing is good.
Welcome to my favorite podcast. Don't share. Sharing sucks for chums. Okay.
Aaron, what are we talking about today?
We're actually sharing our favorite TV shows with one another. Similarly to how we talked about our favorite games, now we're on TV shows.
Hell yeah. It's going to be hard. It's going to be... how do I choose? No, I'm just kidding. It'll be cool. I don't have like a ton of TV shows that I'm super into. I have like 3, and then I try other ones out. And then if I like them, I'll be like, yeah, okay. But the ones that I do like, I watch over and over and over again all the time, forever. What about you?
Have you gone through phases of favorite TV shows? Because like I've had some phases. Oh, yeah. I had like a Doctor Who phase, and now I'm over it. I'm like, Doctor Who's all right. But like, honestly, it's a headache to follow because oftentimes they'll just like drop plot lines. I'm like, oh, okay, good. And I'm like, I can't. Inconsistencies. No, not my thing. So, no.
I had that.
I don't like watching a show. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was really into Dexter. And now I look back and I'm like, ooh, that's some cringe. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just like, I just would never watch that today. And the amount of into it that I was when I was younger, I'm like, okay, take it easy. I don't know. I was just real edgy. And I was like, I like this murderer show. He's not like other people.
Have you ever watched... I never watched it. I tried to watch Dexter. A friend of mine was really into it. Put on one episode, and I was like, "There's too much blood. I don't like it. Thank you."
It's gnarly.
I'm a big baby. Have you ever watched Doctor Who?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot, but I mean, I've definitely seen episodes.
Okay, yeah. My thing was that like around the time of like
Tumblr.
After David Tennant, like around the Matt Smith era. I don't know. I'm like, that's why I'm like, if you haven't watched it, I sound like a fucking way too into it. But like around the Matt Smith era with his whole love story with like River Song, I kind of got lost there because I'm like, I don't like watching something and feeling like I've missed an entire season of the show. I understand that that's the point. It's supposed to be a reverse love story. Great in theory, not great in execution. You could fight me in the comments. You're not going to change my mind. I was like, I can't get attached to it. Just I don't like watching something and it feels like I walked in. Yeah, I don't like watching something and it feels like I walked in on the 3rd movie in a trilogy. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, what the hell's happening here? I'm like, cool. Honestly, cool, but no thanks. And then it just kept getting worse from there. That there would be like, they would start something, then drop it, and then like something new, and it's almost as if, oh yeah, it's always been like that. And it's like, it hasn't though. So stop. So yeah. I can't. I around like the Peter Capaldi at that point you had already lost me. Like
you become one of those moms who's like watching a show with their kid and they're like, now who's that guy? And now who's he? And I don't know, exactly. Mom. We're watching the same show. Like I have the exact amount of information you do. But then it's like everyone is the mom in that situation. And
everyone is Stacey's mom.
Everyone's his mom. Fuck. Yeah, I feel that.
What is a good show?
What's a good show, bro? I know you're
Avatar:
gonna.
The Last Airbender.
Hell yeah.
Before I get in, I'm not gonna make a 1 hour dedicated saga to Avatar. Saga would have to be multiple. I'm not gonna make a whole dedicated episode to Avatar: The Last Airbender, although I could. I'll start with, do you differentiate your favorite shows according to, like, my favorite animated show, my favorite live action show, my favorite... Yeah?
You have to.
All right, well, you're a fucking nerd, but I'm kidding. I'm joking. What are your favorites?
Well,
your favorite animation, let's say.
Anime? Oh. I'm going to sound
or like any animation, cartoon.
Okay, well, I would say that, like, I was really into Death Note before... It was, I'm such a hipster before it was popular. No, it was really popular when I was into it, but it wasn't like a really cringy fucking Netflix reboot yet. And so I think that kind of like, the anime is still great, but it's like, it didn't help when all that, it's like, I don't know. But when I was like in middle school, I got really into Death Note. I was really into Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. That shit was fun. And then Avatar. I liked Avatar a lot. Still do.
Hell yeah.
So
have you watched The Legend of Korra?
No. I got like 3 episodes in and I was like, this, steampunk, this is cool, but it's not my thing.
I don't like it. I like to pretend it doesn't exist and everyone doesn't like that about me, but too bad. Who's Korra? Don't know her. She doesn't go here. Listen, it's too gay? Much. It doesn't... Yeah, exactly. Everyone online's like, but didn't you know that Korra's bi? It's like, first of all, I'm like super not into like queer baiting, and I'm sorry, but if you're going to write a queer character, make it explicitly clear that they're queer. I get that. It's like, if it's arguable that they're queer or not, it's like, no, but you could tell the parallels at the end of the series. She looks into her eyes. Not enough. Sorry.
Oh, I see. I thought there was like a kiss scene or something. Okay, dude.
No, take it scene,
easy, man.
It's all implied. The same way that, like, it's implied that Dumbledore is gay. Write him as gay. You want to write a queer character? Write a queer character. But none of this half-ass shit where your homophobic audience could still pretend that she's not queer. One or the other, baby. I'm sorry. It's late at night and my ADHD medication is leaving. And I also... I don't like passion, Legend of Korra, okay? Too many things are different and I'm a baby. No, but, like, even just... Okay. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, all right, Aang is frozen in ice for 100 years, all right, and they show you the world before he was frozen in ice, and it doesn't change that much from the post-war world. I understand that war can stunt the development of the world, and that post-war, maybe they flourished, whatever, but I don't like it. It's too much change all at once. All of a sudden you have cars. Why do you have cars when you could earth bend? It's just use more bending. And even like artistically talking, I'm almost done. I promise. My rant is almost over. I could feel it getting long. Even just like the choreography of the fighting moves, it's all just like MMA. It's all like mixed martial arts. It's like punching, whatever. It's not actually based off of like, this one is for the water tribe and for the like, I don't like the animating. I'm not a big fan of like, it lost a lot of its little details, and I understand that has to do with like a shorter production time, all that stuff. I also hate love triangles. I absolutely, if there's one thing in the world I hate, it's love triangles, and I hate everything they did. Everything. Oh, let's make a dark avatar. Who told you to do that? Anyway.
Oh,
I don't like it.
There's like an evil avatar?
Let's not talk about season 2.
Okay, sorry. I said, I only got a few episodes in, and that was like years ago. That was like when it came out. I was like, oh, tight. And then I was like, I'm good.
A lot of people like it, and I got a lot of shit for not liking it, particularly because, like, oh, of course men wouldn't like it. I'm like, okay, first of all, take notes. I identified as female for 20 years out of my 25 years of life. Only passed as male for 3. Not that passing is everything, but it's just I have experienced being oppressed as someone who was seen as female by society. Don't tell me it has to do... Please. Yeah. I understand the importance of having strong female role models. I understand that totally. Doesn't mean that I like anything about Korra's series. Nothing against Korra personally. Everything against love triangles and the different animation style and the loss of all that traditional. Like they look. That's it. That's the whole thing. Thanks for hearing my essay. That's my thesis defense on why I don't like Korra. So anyway, what's your favorite live action show? Sorry, I'm done.
Well, I can't. So I think within live action, there's a lot of other subgenres there that I would differentiate into. Like the one that I planned on bringing to the table was The Office, just because that's like my knee jerk, like go-to TV show. I've watched it through like double digits. Like I'm not very good at like remembering small details and facts about stuff, but like I'm pretty sure that I could smoke anyone in like Office trivia because I just have it all memorized. In fact, today, I don't know what it was. I woke up and I made myself go back to sleep because I had literally such bad anxiety that I could feel it in my chest. And I was like, sleep through this. And so I went back to sleep. It's anxiety. After, like, when I experience a hangover, I also experience, like, you know, all those levels drop and shit. So, like, I just feel so bad the day after I drank. And I drank yesterday. So, but anyways, when I woke up for good, I just remembered this scene from The Office where Angela's sister is like speaking to her in their own secret language that they made as children. And like in this scene, you can sort of from context, like get what she's saying. So there's like this character named Phyllis and she walks in with boxed wine and Angela's sister says to Angela something like, Fawful-office, Brofalot, Wi-Fi in Boxel-office. Something to that extent where it's like Phyllis brought wine in boxes. And so I was thinking about that. And then there was this, I remembered this scene, this deleted scene where the sister gives a whole speech in that secret language. And I was like, I bet I could decode it. I was like, I bet I can figure this out. So I went on this deep dive, like through the internet, Googling, trying to figure out what this is. Figured out that it's a language called, it's not like a real language. It's one that's just like you replace every vowel and this, some other shit. It's called Offengloffish, but there's not a lot of information about it online. So I do know someone from high school that I remember mentioning this language. Like they would speak to one of their friends in it and I never knew it, but I remember the name Offengloffish and I was like, holy shit. So then I get on this person's social media and I'm like going down this rabbit hole of like, how do I, as a completely different person who has not talked to this person in over 10 years, politely ask them to teach me Offengloffish so that I can interpret a deleted scene from this TV show. So that's where we are today. So that was my morning.
Okay, one, that's like conspiracy theory level, like holy shit, that's like falling down the rabbit hole. Two, it's those I can't get over that. But also two, having to have a conversation like, oh my god, when you see someone from high school like, oh hey, and they don't recognize you, like, oh wait, and you're like, what are you supposed to say? I'm Aaron from math class? You don't know, that's not the name you know. They're like, who the fuck are you? You're like, never mind, because I can't say I'm this person. And then you have to get into this whole, but I transitioned. You see, once upon a time, I went and go see a gender therapist. Right. It was really hard. My parents didn't take it at first, but now it's been 3 years. I love that. Like, I don't have time. But here's Dr. Charles Garham when he's at Instagram. Like, nobody has time to do that. So I just, instead, avert eye contact. And that's the whole thing, folks. I don't know what to do. If I see you at Costco and we went to school together, look, how am I supposed to know that you know that I'm trans? I don't. So, yeah, I'm just going to ignore you.
Right. So The Office for me is my favorite TV show, probably. Definitely my favorite like mockumentary. I haven't seen a lot of mockumentary TV shows. I mean, the Parks and Rec is great too, but The Office, tried and true, numero uno.
Okay, that's what it's called. I'm like, what is it called when it's filmed that way? Mm-hmm. Okay, mockumentary, cool.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be in the style of a documentary, but it's still like a drama. Like it's a sitcom that they filmed to look like real shit. And the Office kind of like made it a thing and launched a lot of those actors' careers, and a lot of the people that worked on it went to work on like Parks and Rec. Like Mose from The Office created Parks and Rec. His name isn't Mose, I don't remember his real name, but he plays the actor Mose, and he wrote on it and did stuff. Went on to make Parks and Rec, which was awesome too.
I've like tried to watch The Office and Parks and Rec. I just can't. I really try, but then what happens is we're like 3 episodes later, I'm like, oh, I was watching a show. What's happening? It's just so easy to look away from for me. It's so easy for me, like, well, I'm like, oh shit,
well,
shit.
I totally know what you mean. Like the first season, especially of The Office, is like they really do the documentary style. Like they hit that hard and they make it look very documentary and like hide, the edits. As the season goes on, all of the characters become way more pronounced, way more cartoonish. You start feeling like you're watching a TV show. And then they start having like, well, in terms of mockumentaries, like editing and filming mistakes, but for a TV show they work, where they'll like cut to cameras that aren't there in the scene. Because like if you're watching a documentary, you'll see the other camera in the scene if it, the angle would show it. They'll cut to an angle where a camera wasn't shown. So they do stuff like that, and it feels more like you're watching a show. Or they'll like, just cut to invisible cameras in cars or just things that couldn't really happen, but you let it go. So I think the first season, I can totally understand why you'd be like, yeah, I get that. I feel that.
Yeah, I tried to Parks and Rec too, and I watched it with my girlfriend. She watched the whole thing. I was present while it played. However, literally no idea. The only thing I remember is I think a really long scene of like shuffling onto the ice. Yes. If that's Parks and Rec, or if it's The Office, I don't know, just shuffling onto the ice.
Yeah, that's Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I love it.
I remember being like, this is really long humor, like drawn out there, like you're gonna sit through this joke. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, they torture you with that one. It was like one of the guys was supposed to get enough red carpet to go out to this stage on an ice rink, but he only could afford like a third of the way. So then they had to all walk the full distance, and they stay on that shot, and they're all falling over each other to get to that stage for her like political speech. And they had like one little soundbite, and they keep playing it over and over because it's taking them so much longer. Going. So it's just get on your feet, get up and make it happen. Get on your as they're falling. I fucking love it. Yeah, it's like it's torture, but that shit is funny. That's memorable. I can see why you'd keep that one.
It's a weird place to be because it's kind of like I appreciate the show. Is that a weird thing to say? Like cinematically appreciate the show, because it definitely gave rise to a lot of other shows that I like. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine 100% takes some inspiration from mockumentaries. Even though it is not a mockumentary, it's definitely like a comedy series. It takes a lot from that. It takes a lot of breaking the fourth wall, and like it'll occasionally cut to some of those like you're almost like who is he talking to? And it's like this, like, you know how there are interviews during a documentary?
Yeah.
It'll do a little bit of that, but it's definitely a lot more of like a comedy series. But it takes a lot of that humor, and I appreciate that because it did a lot for like comedy shows. But otherwise, I'm just watching it on its own. I'm like, oh, this is like watching the comedy version of Donnie Darko, which you love. There are a lot of things that I appreciate, but I just can't watch them because I'm like, I feel like I need an instruction manual to appreciate this.
I get you. Yeah, I get that. Definitely. What about you when it comes to like, I mean, not even just mockumentaries, but like just TV shows, like I guess live action shows, but do you have like separate subgenres within that of like dramas and shit like that?
So, okay, what was a show? Okay, there are different types of shows. I either love, like, not love. I either pay attention to a show or I don't. It's it's the same thing with books. I'll either finish them all at once. They don't have to be great, but I need to be able to pay attention to them. A show I really like that's really trashy is Grey's Anatomy. That's my trash show. That's my little, God. I sit like a little raccoon on top of my pile of garbage and I watch Grey's Anatomy. Okay, every fall. That's my fall tradition. Cool. Why? Because I like pain and I like to watch adults with absolutely zero emotional regulation. None. Like I'm just, all of you are out of line. You all need therapy. This isn't the way that adults act. But yeah, no, I love it. So that's what I watch.
I watched,
what else do?
Like one episode of it with one of my exes because she was really into it, and I was like, I cannot sit here and like, this is so serious, and everyone like this is a ridiculous situation, and everyone is taking it entirely too seriously. And the one that I watched had a guy who was, I mean, I don't want to get too graphic, but the patient in it was like, he was expelling feces from an orifice that shouldn't be doing that. and I was like, this show is not my cup of tea. and then meanwhile it's like they're having, I don't know, they're like sleeping together in like a fucking closet, and I'm like, this guy needs attention, like
right?
He's got
and also all
coming
of
out of
the
his mouth, like,
extravagant deaths. It's like if you look at it in retrospect, or like all of the main character, her name is Meredith Grey. Grey's not get it. Grey's okay. She, like, if you just look at her life in retrospect, you're like, yeah, this is like, it's a bit incredible that it's like, okay, how many plane crashes?
I don't know anything about that. Wait, what?
It's like, oh my god, a fire, like all this shit that you're like, how is this? You fell into the water, almost drowned. Like, how many ridiculous? Like, first of all, PTSD. Like, how, Meredith, my gal, how the fuck do you not have PTSD? That's all I think of when I watch these shows. I'm like, how many times could she get into like these horrible accidents? Anyway, so there's all that, and basically whenever they want to get rid of a character, like, we're gonna kill them off. But it's like, okay, one of them, what was it? Something fell on one of the characters. You know, like Bugs Bunny, like a grand piano falls on them, like something like that happens. Like George O'Malley. Something. I'm like, okay, and
a so big anvil,
just like all of a sudden
drops off the side of a cliff.
Exactly.
A stick of dynamite.
Cool, I guess he's off the show. Yeah, and then it became like, okay, we can't keep killing all the characters because people are getting suspicious. Everyone's just gonna move to Europe. Just wait, move to Europe. She's doing surgery in Europe now, and it's like, hey, how many times can we do that though? So now it's like, just to get rid of characters, like Europe.
Are there any like theories around maybe there's like a serial killer that's like killing doctors? Because if there's like a lot of deaths happening on that show, I wonder if anyone's come up with like some sort of put those together and like with the dates and like found a way. I don't know. I just feel like if
that'd be cool,
someone should do that.
No, that doesn't exist. Everyone's just totally, oh man, what a tragedy. And like, how is, like, what are the odds of that? An active, well, I mean, okay, trigger warning, shooting. I don't know. Is it like multiple instances of just people being in the hospital, just like, I'm going to kill everyone in here? It's like, why is this hospital, so much is happening? Have you ever actually been to a hospital? It's not that eventful. And also, so many people walk in with like these mystery illnesses. Like, someone actually in one episode has EDS, and like one of the doctors cracks it. I'm like, fucking fake. Like, to get diagnosed with EDS, it's like, you're going to have to know what EDS is, because your doctor sure as shit isn't. Anyway.
Damn.
I'm glad that they kind of covered it, that it was just like, they were, especially because she was a young woman of color, I believe. They kept thinking that it was just because she was hungover and dehydrated and whatever, and then she ended up being diagnosed with EDS. But I'm like, I know it's supposed to be unrealistic, the same way that everything in the show is unrealistic, but I'm just like, you know how much doctors actually care about diagnosing rare illnesses? This minute. That's how they like actually, and they don't know most of the time. So yeah, it just kind of like set a weird expectation where I'm like, oh, doctors don't actually care. They spend time outside the hospital, and most of the time that they're here, they honestly just want to get out. So nice, cool. Any angry doctors in the comments, I'm not actually that sorry, honestly. Yeah, doctors are real jerks most of the time. Unfortunately, it's a power trip. So
it is definitely that. Like, it's hard to have a system where your life is put in like one person's hands, and a lot of doctors, I think, as a career, like, it's something that you end up having to desensitize yourself to these people, and like, or else you're going to feel, I can't imagine feeling that way every day at work. I can see how people end up like going into like an autopilot mode to deal with this, or else, I mean, I could not be like, okay, I have a patient, like, someone has a medical issue that's very serious and like impacting their life, could potentially like be fatal to them. I need to figure that out and fix it. Fuck that. No, thank you. That's hard.
Yeah, like in the show, everyone is so invested in all the patients and all of their lives, and I'm like, that's IRL, or at least where I live, IRL. You're mostly going to see the nurses. You're actually probably not going to see your doctor, except maybe for like pre-op. If you're having surgery, you probably won't see them for post-op unless it's for a follow-up. Otherwise, you're mostly spending most of your time with nurses, and it's actually like there aren't that many scenes. Like, the nurses aren't given a lot of airtime on the show, so I'm like, still interesting to watch though. Although, like I said, I'm a little trashy raccoon. I just sit on my pile of garbage and I watch my garbage show, and I'm aware that it's garbage, and that's it. That's my, I wouldn't even say guilty pleasure, because I'm entirely open about it. I'm like, yep, watching Grey's Anatomy again. I also used to watch Sex and the City with my mother, because that was what we used to do. It was weird. That's where I learned what a vibrator was. I was like 12.
That's funny.
Yeah. It was weird. Sex and the City is trash.
Do you watch any TV shows that... I'm trying to think of like trashy shows that I like. I don't feel like I really have any. Like sometimes I'll see what's on MTV just to like check it out if I'm somewhere else, because I, cordless, pulled the plug or whatever they say. I just do streaming services, or if there's something I can't stream, I just download it. Which, by the way, okay, so I was going to talk about Breaking Bad, and this was going to kind of tie into that, but I'll just go ahead and talk about it. Use a VPN if you're going to download anything, even if it seems like obscure. I don't even know what the acronym stands for, but it basically like takes your IP address and you're like it lets you use a different server, so a different IP address will show up whenever you're on websites, so that you can't be tracked and like people can't find your information through your IP address. Use one of those because that shit's real. I'm not like, well, basically I just got a notification from my internet provider the other day, and I usually use a VPN if I'm going to do anything that I want to be private, and got a notification from them where they got some sort of fucking like copyright claim from the people who make this TV show that someone on my IP address apparently downloaded a couple episodes of it in a not so legal way. Huh. And so... Oh,
that could go really bad really quick.
Yeah.
That's scary. Okay. No, I can see how that could blow up. I'm like, oh no.
And so...
I don't want people's sketchy shit on my IP address.
Oh, no. It wasn't somebody's sketchy shit.
So, okay, you said someone downloaded something, but somehow through your IP address. I'm like, how do they do that?
Well, they would have probably had to be in my house on my Wi-Fi, so it could have been anyone.
Oh, okay.
But that happened, and so now use a VPN so that your shit doesn't get tracked if you're going to download stuff. That's what I'm saying. And that was just basically, I don't even know where that came from, but this TV show that I've been watching is kind of trashy. It's like, it's not great, it's not bad. But yeah, somebody downloaded a few episodes of that and got popped for it. But it was just like a slap on the wrist.
Ty, don't get arrested.
Yeah, totally. I'm doing my best.
Please don't. You were saying that you've been unplugged. Basically, you don't have TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because same. I haven't had TV since I lived like with my foster family when I was like, 17? So, but I miss... Okay, here's what I miss. TLC. All right.
Yeah.
I think I really do love certain types of trashy TV. If people are yelling, I'm gone. Goodbye. I don't want to hear you scream. But
right.
when I was in the US, when I was in the US in March for a talk, my girlfriend and I spent like the whole time that I was not working just in the hotel watching TLC. It's like Trading Spaces 20-year anniversary. This couple traded spaces and then got divorced. Watch them trade spaces again with their new spouses. I'm like, I need to watch this. Yeah. I have to see.
Oh, totally.
I want to see this. So yeah, I love that shit. Or like, oh my god, no, wait. Okay. Gordon Ramsay's Hotel Hell.
Hotel?
So good.
What is this?
Hotel Hell. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's like Kitchen Nightmares, but better. He goes to hotels that are run down and he like stays at them, and then he like tries to get them to get the hotel, get their like act together. But it's just so cool to see all these like, I mean, one of them was bougie, but like garbage bougie. But a lot of them are just like family owned and stuff like that. And he's actually really nice. One of them made me cry because like they had sold everything to keep the hotel open and they had nowhere to live. And if they lose a hotel, they lose where they live. So Gordon paid for like a year of rent for them. And anyway,
wow.
I cried. So yeah, that's another one of those, like, it's absolutely trashy TV, but I just sometimes like watching it. Sometimes I don't. I feel like I could get really depressed if I watch too much TV.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't even know how to explain it. The feeling of depression, the taste in your mouth of depression, that happens to me when I watch too much TV. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Not Avatar, that's different. But like these reality TV shows,
yeah,
directly touched the depression nerve in my brain. I don't know at all why that happened. So
I recently house sat, and they had like one of the most intense TV packages I've ever seen, or maybe this is just how it is these days, but you get on the guide and there's just so much information that you're looking at once, and like so many channels literally within the guide now. Apparently, like as you're flipping through all the names, there are advertisements for TV shows and movies to buy. Like in the middle of like the channels, there will be like an advertisement for something else, and I'm like, what is
I
this
hate
shit?
that.
I haven't had TV in so long. Like this wasn't a thing when I had it, and now there's like you're gonna put a commercial over the fucking like in the guide.
It was jarring. Yeah, like seeing all these commercials. Like, first of all, why is the commercial so loud? It doesn't need to be that loud. It goes from like, and that will be right back after this message. Hi, coming back. And I'm like, I really don't need you to yell this at me right now. And so many like commercials about like security systems. Like, what's happening, America? What are you afraid of? Who hurt you? And like pharmaceutical, like you're not allowed to promote drugs.
Are the weirdest shits.
In Canada, you're not allowed to promote any drugs at all on TV. So in the US, I was like, if I see one more commercial about this like bladder control pill, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm like, what the hell's happening? And there are so many of them. And then 10 seconds of the commercial is this is the pill. The other 40 seconds are just side effects. And I'm like, what? And my favorite one, this stuck with me. Uncontrollable, oily anal leakage. That's just all of those words combined. That's a lot. That's a lot to pay.
That's a gamble
for like allergy medicine. You know, yeah. It's allergy medicine.
Oh my god. Oh,
uncontrollable is the one that I was like, that's the okay. Uncontrollable, oily anal leakage. I'm like,
oily. I didn't need to know the.
I'm gonna take my chance with the daisies and the daffodils. Thanks.
Holy shit.
She's like outside playing with a dog and shit. The wind is blowing. I'm like, Lisa, are you not worried about the uncontrollable? How will you even know it's happening, Lisa? So yeah,
Lisa, you can't stop this once it starts. This is out of your hands. Take measures to prepare.
Right, it's such an intense image in my mind. Anyway, sorry for that. A message from our sponsors.
Yeah, so that's a huge reason why I don't like have TV. So a lot of my TV watching is very intentional. Like I seek out something that I'm going to sit down and watch. I don't just like turn on the TV and start flipping through channels. Even with Netflix, if I'm going to watch something, I'll sit there. I could sit there for probably the amount of a TV show, finding a TV show to watch, you know?
Same.
So I think that's a big difference too with like the direction that TV is moving, is because it can't just really like fill the silence anymore. Like I think that's why Netflix is investing in stuff that is very like narratively complex and stuff that's gonna like hook people, like really good shit, and not just trying to like pump out as many different versions of like the same show like a lot of networks
do.
Because
they're also competing with like platforms like YouTube. I could spend my night watching YouTube videos just as much as I could spend my night watching shit on Netflix. I'm more likely to be on YouTube because there's a lot more variety there. And then if you don't like what's on there, you can make your own thing. It's like there's a lot more direct, like, what do I want? And then like, I don't know. It's a lot more like you just have to take whatever's fed to you, and it's a lot more like I'm going to watch what I want, I'm going to make what I want. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to evolve, because it reminds me a little tiny bit of like the music industry before it became so it was always corporate, but what it is now corporate, where it was more about like the right place, the right time, but also having talent, which is kind of like similar to YouTube. It's more like if you make this thing, it's not like, you know, it was new, and now it's its own beast. I'm like, I wonder what like internet creators are going to be like 20 years from now.
Oh, I think we're getting a peek into it, man, and I don't think it's pretty.
Yeah, like the politics where it's like it's not about what you're making anymore, it's about who you know and connections, like the music industry. So I'm like, I see it happening with YouTube, and I'm like, I just wonder, and even with the little seed of just like, oh, as soon as you make your YouTube channel, you don't actually qualify for monetization until you meet it's like there are barriers now in place. It's not just, there's a lot less control in your, well, a lot less. There's less control in your hands, and like I think that's probably going to progress
Oh yeah.
And there are networks and stuff for creators. How long before, if you want to be a creator, you have to have a network? The same way that if you want to be a musician or an actor, you need to have an agent. Like, when is that going to become?
Will that spawn off an entirely different like subgenre of creators that are like indie creators? That's an interesting thought too.
Yeah.
Of like, no, I don't. Well, I mean, I don't have a network. I've worked with two and didn't have good experiences with either one of them. So I think that's how I would continue to be. But I wonder, like, I know that there are things that I've missed out on, like with the one that I had most recently. Like, had I continued to be with them, or if I was with them now, I'd be verified on other platforms. I'd be going to, events and summits and things. I'd be furthering my career in order to help put money in their pockets, but at a cost. And
less creative freedom. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's less. You don't get to make your decisions anymore as an individual, as a creator. You just get to weigh in on the things that you are representing. It's basically like your name doing their bidding. It's strange.
It's hard.
But you're right. It's like there are plenty of creators that it's like they could have less followers than you, but they're verified on all platforms. They're at all the big events, and it's like,
yeah, a lot of it is playing the game, and I feel like, I don't know. A lot of ways, like I could easily be a way more popular YouTuber. Like, I could play the game. I know how to do it. I see what works for a lot of other people who are sort of within my subgroup, but like doing content that's very different and stuff that I just like, I don't know. I'm going to sound like an asshole here, but like, I would not make something like that, no matter if it guaranteed me 1 million views on every fucking video. But, that's working well for those people. And it's like, shit, that's kind of how the system is. It's made to promote a certain kind of, like, videos that get a certain kind of reaction do really well. And if you're like, if you can just pump those out, then you can do really well. So
I see it to be fair, I feel like I see it taking a toll on some creators. Some creators like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, nobody, like, eventually you start to realize it's like, especially if it's harmful to other people, it's like, yeah, it's a lot to keep up that, like, I don't know. Not to criticize, it's just like, I mean, the videos that are terrible, definitely criticizing,
right?
Like the ones that hurt people, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's definitely a fast track to viewers, but at what cost? You even, like, if it were me, I'm like, I wouldn't even look myself in the mirror anymore. So I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and make my strange ass videos. Also, stay away from networks because I don't trust them. And yeah, no, I don't like, even like we spoke about in the last video, I don't even like having sponsors weigh in on what I'm making. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
If I want to make something that's queer and use queer language, that's what I'm gonna do. If I want to make a video about Stonewall and not have an advertisement roll on that out of just every reason of respect, I'm gonna do that. But if you work for a network, you don't get to make those exec decisions. It's either run the video with what we tell you to put on it, or don't run the video at all, because they actually own you for the amount of time that you've signed a contract for. So I'm like, hell no.
Yeah. Networks are scary. Unless you are really, like pulling in big numbers, they're not helping you. They're taking a certain percentage of your ad revenue every month, no matter what they do for you. Some months they won't do anything. And you're just paying,
and they're pooling
them, and then they treat you like you're an employee.
Resources.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then they pool the resources from your content and everyone else's content into their chosen few to grow those channels, and those channels support their whole business. So, I mean, you're supporting their business too, but they don't need that many big names.
Yeah.
So
stay away from networks,
and
kids.
I'm waiting, like, it's becoming a lot more like traditional media, which is scary. Stop. I don't like it.
Oh, yeah. There's entirely, like, corporate-owned YouTubers that aren't even, like...
Yeah.
What Lonely Girl, something. This vlogger that was doing videos in her house, and it turned out it was like a brand. Like, she was an actress, and like, it wasn't even her house, it was a set. Like, it was so wild. She got really popular.
It's a set, exactly. Dude, the most meta thing, I was in the US that one time, and we're watching like TV, like regular people, and I think my girlfriend and I were watching probably like Disney XD or something, I don't know, one of the things the kids watch, and it was literally YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On TV.
They do that now.
They had people sitting there, gamers, in their rooms. It's a set. It is it's a set, and like these gamers sitting in their room, Joe PewDiePie, not actually PewDiePie, and like playing these games, and I'm like, what the hell? They're trying to use the same formula for success used on YouTube and put that on TV, and it's like,
yeah, they use like,
I don't know, so many things about that.
Even in advertisements, like I saw there was one when I was flipping through recently, when I was house sitting. I think I went to some sort of maybe Disney or Nickelodeon or something. They had an advertisement come up that's like, you know, all these colors and shapes, and it's like real poppy and stuff. And then like 3 vertical videos show up on the screen, and they're like boomerangs of like this TV show that they're promoting. And it's like you're watching an Instagram story or something. And then it, you know, all comes back down. And I was like, whoa.
It was weird. It was so weird. I was like, oh my God. I haven't watched TV since I was like 17. I'm 25 now. That's almost 10 years. Christ, I'm old. That's almost 10 years without watching TV. And like, when I was 17, I didn't have a smartphone. Again, not to sound like I'm fucking ancient, but like, I got to college. You go to college at 17 here. And I had one of those slide up text phones. And that was like a normal thing. It like, I think the closest thing to a smartphone was like the iPhone 3 had just come out, which was the first like all screen iPhone, something like that. Anyway, I don't even know. I'm old, but all that to say, it's like social media wasn't a thing yet. Like there was Facebook, MySpace had just been demolished, but otherwise it was like your mom didn't have Facebook, your grandparents didn't have Facebook, your parents didn't even know what Facebook was. They're like, what's that thing you go on with the books? You know, like, and now it's just so, it changed so fast, and to see it on TV, I'm like, whoa, that's weird. It's like, it's so clearly a set. It's as if like this is just like a backdrop. Anyway, I was like,
what's funny is that they're taking these things that they're seeing work on YouTube and on the internet and trying to, you know, change them and apply them to their platform. But the reason that their platform can never be that is because the key reason that people watch, you know, lower quality videos from YouTubers compared to what a studio could produce is the authenticity of that real person.
Yeah.
And when it's on a set on TV, it's like it's you've done it all.
You could tell
the worst way. You took all the worst parts of everything and put it together, and it didn't help you. Good job.
It's lack of authenticity, and there's not that intimacy. Even let's say channels that start off small and start to build like empires, you know, like I'm gonna go to like Game Grumps. Started off in like Aaron Hansen's house, and now like they have their own office. It's getting bigger and bigger. They still have their authenticity because they're the original creators. They're doing what they want. They're not doing what's gonna, I mean, obviously they care about numbers, but it's not like, you could tell when advertisers are the ones calling the shots. Yeah. And with them, it's not advertisers calling the shots. They're a lot more candid. They don't sound like they're saying things at gunpoint. Like, you know, a lot of times, let's say if you'd be like, they would be like, have some Q&A thing going on TV, and it's not an actual Q&A. It all sounds like, my favorite thing to do on the weekend is watch my favorite channel, Disney XD. Yeah. And it's like, you like a single tear rolls down their face, and you're like, are you okay?
Oh my God.
And then like silent, and you see them like mouthing like, help. So like that's what it feels like when I watch the TV version. I'm like, are they all right? Whereas when you're watching shit online, it's just, even Shane Dawson, he's huge. Jenna Marbles, she's huge, but there's still, it still feels like you're watching a friend, kind of. You get what I'm saying? There's just something there that TV will never have.
I think we definitely went into this very topic on another podcast. I think so. And talked about like with keeping the format of single camera, even though they have the budget to do a production and, you know, staying with that familiarity of, I feel like I'm watching a YouTube video, you know? It does a lot for them, even though they could they could be doing other things, but they're doing that and it works. And TV channels are seeing that and they're trying to implement that. It's very interesting.
Do you think that TV channels are doing that because they see how low budget the production is and that they don't need to spend so much money to have success? Because like there are things that huge productions could have that YouTube won't have. Like, again, YouTube is not going to make something like Avatar. To produce one episode of Avatar, it used to take an average of 6 months of animating. Like, it was a lot of work. It requires a whole team of people.
Wow.
Why don't they do more of that? So, but like, it's because it is so high production. Maybe it's just they want the quick and easy. They could roll these out really, like, if one person is able to make, like, you know, like 1 or 2 people or your very limited team, because I'm just one person, but I know others, like, you know, Shane Dawson for sure has people who like film and edit. But a small team is able to make a huge thing. So maybe they're like, hey, we have all these resources. We can make 1 million of these videos. And like, maybe it's more about like quantity.
Yeah.
over quality?
I would say so. I think
possible?
Since the internet is pushing the direction of media right now, and it is like this fast pace, like turnaround times that are completely unrealistic. You couldn't spend 6 months on an episode of anything right now unless it's something like that is transcends date. Like, okay, like Stranger Things. Like, you could spend a long fucking time. It's been 2 years since we saw the last season, and everyone fucking loves it, and it's huge and amazing, but it's set in the 80s. Like, if it was set today, it'd be outdated by the time it came out, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, I feel that. Oh, I love Stranger Things, by the way, if we're talking about TV show. Fuck.
Yeah, I was going to ask you before. I'm like, hey, you want to talk about Stranger Things? I know you like Stranger Things. Yeah. And I love Stranger Things, so.
It's cute. I love it. I mean, there's a lot that's wrong with it, and I think, with the whole,
I
like...
want to hear. Tell me.
Well, playing on, like, the 30-year cycle thing of, like, this entire show is based off of nostalgia, and I think it's really cool, though, because, like, it allows them to sort of switch between genres within their TV show, just because it's all on the guise of well, now we're gonna do the Terminator. We're gonna have this big German guy, and he's pursuing our protagonist, and we're gonna have this exact scene for like shot for shot replication of is that the right word, replication? I don't know. Yeah. So we're gonna shot for shot do fucking a scene from E.T. but instead of a little alien, there's gonna be a Demogorgon there, or what they call the Demogorgon, which looks nothing like the D&D Demogorgon, but it's cool, it's cute. But that has meaning because Eleven and this thing are both this creature with two separate heads attacking itself. Maybe that's what that is. A lot of really interesting, like there's so much stuff that I love about it, and I love all of the homage that it pays to these different things. And like, I'll see a shot, I'll watch it, and I probably annoy whoever I'm watching it with, but I'll just be like, Jaws. Christy's like, what? And I'm like, he just pulled out of the stage. That is a shot from Jaws. And she's like, okay, Ty, thanks.
Okay, Ty, thanks.
So I love that because I love so many of those iconic 80s movies that I grew up with, the fucking Goonies, and I mean, just everything. Super cool. And I love seeing those little parts. I love the stories. I love how it's these sort of three different groups, and we get this insight on everything that they know, and then they don't know what the other people know, and then they all come together and use their information to defeat the monster. That's really cool. It's fun. It's a fun journey to follow and be like, shit, they don't get it yet, but we do. That kind of fun stuff. But there's parts that are lazy. There's loose ends. There's definitely like writing that you can tell was left sort of up in the air, maybe because of like contract stuff with the actors. And I don't know. I love it. I love the story. I like what they're doing. I think it's fun, but it's not perfect, but it's great. It's really fun. What do you think?
I had, when I first started watching it, again, I have the attention span of most children. So I at first didn't like Stranger Things. I liked it, but I was like, I wish I could watch it at twice or three times the speed. And my friend, who's super, super, super into horror movies, especially like 80s horror, got so mad at me. She's like, it's called slow burn horror. And I was like, okay, there's slow burn. And then there's like, I can't. I was like, it's taking so long. So the first season was long for me to watch. Which is that's my own downfall. That's not, I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but I'm just like sitting there and I'm like, okay, do it, get to it. Or move more things with your head. I want to see it happen. So like, I'm a baby. But otherwise I like it. I feel like season 3 was fast enough for me to not lose interest. But I could also see how, because of the pace of season 3, it definitely probably left a lot of people like, what are you doing? Because they didn't spend, the thing about going slowly is that there's a lot of very rich, elaborate plot and slow build up in it. But I'm just the type that I'm like, just drop me.
Yeah.
Tower of Terror, just throw me up in the air, drop me. That's all I want.
Oh yeah.
But some people like the train ride, and I could appreciate that. The Terminator thing was a little like on the nose for me. I was like,
well, the mayor literally called him Arnold Schwarzenegger when Hopper asked who it was. I thought that was funny. It was like, at least they're self-aware with it.
Exactly. The self-awareness made it a little better. That was like, all right, cool. Because otherwise I was like, this is pretty, like right there.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything about season 3 in case people haven't watched it.
Yeah,
it
no
hasn't been out for
spoilers.
that long. So
Totally.
what?
I said, yeah, no spoilers. But I totally agree that...
One thing I will mention...
You go.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You mentioned. Good. You go.
It was... You tweeted that... You're like, is it just me? It's like, here's a weird thing. I'm dysphoric watching the Stranger kids grow up. Stranger Things kids grow up. And I'm like, yeah, me too.
Seeing those...
I'm so glad that's not just me. I get dysphoric watching Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, I just get dysphoric because I'm like, I want to be a teenage boy and I'll never get to do that. And it's just so like... And so many of these stories about boyhood, coming of age, it's like they hurt me in a special place.
Mm-hmm. Which was a huge staple of like 80s movies. It was all like coming to age, like a group of boys and their friends, and they're going to go have an adventure and learn about themselves and become men or whatever. And they really hit it hard in Stranger Things, and you're just like, I get it. I get it. You have an Adam's apple. Okay, I love it. Tight. Great.
I love it. I love that for you. It's so great. Whatever. I'm like 25 and I have one facial hair. That's fine. Whatever. I don't mind. What Finn Wolfhard's voice has barely dropped and it's already lower than mine. That's okay. I don't mind. Finn, oh, you're taller than me too. It's fine.
Yeah.
Your shorts are too short. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. It's like I get like so like
shorts. I want so many of them.
No, same. It's just, when you're upset, so you find something petty to criticize.
Yeah, no,
that was my petty criticism. Yeah, I was like, whatever, cool for you.
You're like, nice bike,
fucking
douche.
So tall, douche. Yeah, what is that? 2 wheels, whatever.
Sick bowl cut, homie. Looks great.
I always wonder, like, because let's say watching Stranger Things, the nostalgia is so heavy that it almost feels like it's older than it is. Because the 80s wasn't that long ago. Like, it was long ago, but not that long ago. Mm-hmm. Like, my dad was a whole ass adult by the time he was in his 80s. I'm pretty sure he was married.
In
like,
his 80s.
Not that long ago. My dad was born in the 50s. Mm-hmm. So, like...
Yeah.
And it's wild to me. I'm like, wow, this happened, like... Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, my dad would have been, like, 30... Like, close to 30 in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Wow, weird. He's, like, 60-something now. Or close to 60. Anyway, I know ages. So, it's just weird to me because I'm like, wow, imagine that my dad's alive today, very much in great shape, super technologically aware. My dad writes video games to teach kids how to learn how to read music, how to count rhythm, how to do math. Like, he's super tech savvy, but born in the 50s. I'm like, it's so weird to think like he was an adult in the 80s, and it seems so long ago because of this nostalgic cloud around it, So it's just weird to think about that.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel that. I think that at first, when I watched the first season, I had like the thickest eye roll at like how much I felt like it was pandering, and like it was like before I was really into it, I was like, this whole thing like has one foot to stand on, and it's nostalgia. Like, then I got into the story, and then I was like, ah, shit, that's a cool shot. Oh, I know that movie. Oh, I like that thing, and it was fun, and it was cute, and oh my god, the characters, the actors are so solid, especially like the adults, like Hopper and Winona Ryder. I don't know Hopper's real name. Winona Ryder. Oh my god, she's amazing.
Hell yeah.
And
she's the only reason I watched it because I was like, oh wait, Winona Ryder's in it? She's back. So yeah, my favorite movie ever is Edward Scissorhands and Beetlejuice. So I'm like,
yeah, that's sick.
It was really exciting.
But
one question, because I know we're running short on time. Did you ever watch Fairly Odd Parents growing up?
Yeah, totally.
I know it's a weird thing to be surprised by, but I'm surprised by how little you talk about Timmy Turner, because your last name is Turner. That was it. That's the whole thing. I'm always waiting. One day he's gonna talk about Timmy Turner.
Come on,
you never
here.
do.
Obtuse rubber goose, green moose, guava juice. No, I just I watched the show, and I just wasn't that impressed. Not enough to... No. So many people growing up... I think the thing is that, like, it's such a easy connection is that I've just always heard it. So I'm like, there's not really a joke that I can make there that is, like... I always... People were... Especially when I transitioned, you should have named yourself Timmy. Why didn't you name yourself Timmy? I'm like, because he's like a fucking 10-year-old with, like... No. I'm not gonna base my image off of this cartoon child that has
That's what
such a
I'm
pathetic
saying.
existence. You're right. I should talk angrily about it more. This is I'm just trying to distance
that's why
myself
I'm like,
as much as possible.
I feel like there would be so many stories around people being like, "Oh, Turner, you mean like Timmy Turner?" And I'm like, "Wouldn't you just be like, who?
Who?
Fairly what? Fairly God, a fairy God? But I never watched it. Like I feel like that would be like such a time move to be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Never heard of her.
Sorry.
Who is she?
Tommy Turner? No, I don't know him. I think I saw him last night.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Aaron is referencing a story that I told
was...
him where some shit happened and there was a Tommy Turner that might have stolen something, and I got mixed up in this situation that I totally didn't even need to be in, and things were wild. And so I had a moment of interrogation Turner. Where I was like, I'm not Tommy Turner, I'm Ty Turner. Oh fuck!
Like that guy from Fairly Odd Parents. So like, no,
different one. Yeah, no, I've seen it. I have to before we go. I have to say Breaking Bad. I didn't get to mention Breaking Bad, but oh my god, I could talk a whole podcast worth about Breaking Bad. Love it. Closest thing to perfect that a TV show has ever come to. I mean, a drama especially. Changed the name of the game. Fucking cinematic masterpiece. Love Breaking Bad. Why are you squinting? Is it me?
Yeah.
What? You don't like Breaking Bad?
It's no.
Oh my god.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I also don't like The Walking Dead, so I'm just
The Walking Dead I can take it or leave it. But Breaking Bad, I think is because it shifted the genre so intensely to like
what genre?
The genre of just TV, just television.
Okay.
Because
I would like to hear it. I'm like, go on. I really do want to hear. I also hated Donnie Darko before you like talked to me about Donnie Darko. And I was like, okay, fine.
You're like, I'll take it. Fine. I guess
it could stay.
It can stay. Well, with Breaking Bad, shows were typically like, I mean, it was shot like a TV show. Like you'd have your set and you have like the axis and everything's filmed from right there. Even dramas, even drug shows, like they had almost this like more of a noir kind of look to them. Breaking Bad came in and made TV look like cinema, like the cinematography, storytelling with camera movement, really just ridiculous, interesting angles. And then the story is great. I think that there's just all of the parts that make this whole are done so well that you never fucking see in TV. It's just, it changed the game. And then, I mean, there are so many, it has so much influence on the rest of the genre. Like so many TV shows kind of echo that like Breaking Bad vibe. There's Ozark that just came out on Netflix, which is really good, but you watch that and you can't not compare it to Breaking Bad. Good Girls, which is the one. Good Girls is cute. I mean, it tries. It's nice. It knows it's not Breaking Bad, and it knows it's. I think it stays in its lane. It's nice. That's the one that I actually. Somebody on my IP address downloaded a few of those apparently, so. Very, very like criminal kingpin of that person to do, fittingly. So that's cool. But I just think it's use of like showing you something and telling you something and saying, look at this thing. This is important. And then throughout the story, narratively letting you sort of figure out why this thing is important, I think that is very cool. Like, I think there are scenes where the entire synopsis of the whole TV show are summed up in like one or two lines that are just sort of like offhandedly exchanged that you don't know until you've watched the show 4 fucking times, you know? And it's sick. Sorry.
I get, now that you say it, yeah, you're right. As you're saying, I'm thinking of the scene where like the episode starts with it's like, what is it? The fucking first scene of I don't know what. Anyway, like where it starts in a pool and everything is all black and white except for like the one object in color. And I was like, huh, that's an interesting. Like that stuck with me, and I was like, cool. But I didn't think more of it because I was just like, Breaking Bad is sad.
And when you think about that object,
superpowers.
It's the teddy bear, right? It's the pink teddy bear with the whole side of his face burned and his eyes gone. What is the climax of that season? Spoiler alert, you need to be watching Breaking Bad. I'm going to spoil something. Gus Fring.
It's been a long time. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. The kind of villain, the antagonist of this season, gets half of his face blown up and his eye is out, and it's literally that, but it also corresponds to this plane and how these people are dealing with this grief and how Walter White's own journey of being like you're all sissies, you just have to fucking deal with it because I'm, big bad. It's like it a lot of different things mesh, and there's probably people watching this like, Ty, you're not doing the show justice at all, but I've had a lot of caffeine and I have one brain cell left right now.
No, you're doing good.
But it
actually is. You're doing a really great job. Don't worry.
Thank you. But it's just, I think it's really neat because there are a lot of different ties and a lot of that stuff that is, yes, this bear, you're going to see it. You're not going to know what it is. Then you're going to later find out it was dropped by a child on a plane crash that, was raining debris in people's yards in this, like suburban area. And it also is going to connect a lot of the characters where the dad, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into that. Like the guy that was responsible for fucking that up was having a day, and like his daughter is connected to one of the characters that's connected to the main character, and she just died, and it's just like everything pieces together in a way that that is so detailed, but like you don't see that until the very end, and then it all comes together and you're like, oh shit, like you're putting pieces together, and then when you step back and you see this, just what they have woven in front of you, you're like, holy fuck, there's a lot here.
Yeah. And I can see what you mean. That's like kind of the first of its kind to do that, and how that's more cinematic or more just more similar to movies, because movies are written and then filmed, whereas TV shows are often kind of written, filmed, and then continue. So there are oftentimes dropped plot lines or plot lines that end, and then new introductions of like, it's kind of this rise and fall, and it's not always one continuous. It's kind of more like they made all the Zelda video games and now they're trying to link them all together through these timelines, but it wasn't premeditated. Whereas this show sounds very much like it was calculated, and when it was executed, it had an end in mind. It's actually purposely leading you to these different places, I definitely see why that's important. I would probably appreciate it more knowing all that. It was more like I'm just this big baby that I'm like, no superpowers and everything is sad. I don't like it because I'm a baby. But if I get into like an artistic mindset, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I could definitely see it definitely has value. People like it, but now I know why people like it. It makes more sense. Before I was like, why do people like to be sad?
It's extremely
That's me watching Grey's Anatomy. So.
Intentional, and a lot of it too. Like the first time that I watched it, I stopped season 3. I didn't go past season 3, and I was like, this show's a fucking bummer, and I don't like it for a lot of different reasons. And then as I got older, because that was like when it first came out, as I got older and I was like, I'm going to give it another try because everyone really likes it, I was like, holy shit, like, look at this. Like, TV doesn't look like this. And I didn't realize that because at the time I wasn't really, like, I didn't know as much about, films and TV and shit. I was just like, if I like it, I like it. Mm-hmm. But watching it, actively and being like, paying attention to these shots and then seeing where these things start connecting, I was like, holy fuck. And like you said, they went into it. They pitched the show knowing how it was going to end before they ever even had the money to make it. Like, they had one specific goal in mind, and that was to have a character completely change inside and out, like mirror flip. I think they said it's like Mr. Rogers to Scarface. We want to tell the story of a man who goes from like Mr. Rogers to Scarface, and they did it in such a cool fucking way.
Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. I wanted to hear the explanation. I'm like, talk me into Breaking Bad the way you did Donnie Darko, because I at first I was like, Donnie Darko, yeah, okay, it's important, but I don't care. Then you're like, oh, this actually meant that. I'm like, oh shit. So we should just have it like Ty explains cinema to you, and now you appreciate things.
You're sweet. I feel like if I could like think about it and like actually get my thoughts together, I could probably have a way better argument. But just off the top of my head, I haven't even watched the series in like a year and a half is the last time I watched it through. So it's been a hot minute, but just a lot that I love about it. And then visually, like the whole color palette, it's not like traditional drug shows where it's just like real dull and fucking it's all blue. It pops. Like there's so much contrast and saturation in like the things that need it, and then it's not there for like reasons that are narratively important, you know? So I just think that they did a really good job.
It sounds like it's tight, because sometimes
it's tight,
which is a weird way to put it, but it's like if you have an orchestra, right? You could have a really good guitarist, a really good drummer, but if you have like a piano player that's not really following, a bassist that's off beat, it's like that everyone's playing their own thing. Individually it sounds good, but it's not a tight show. This TV show sounds like cinematically it was filmed consciously with the script in mind. Like it's just,
yeah.
And obviously, I mean, I know the acting was like good in the show from what I understand, good acting, so there's that. But it's just, it sounds like it was all like, there weren't a lot of loose ends, which makes a very nice finished piece. So I get that.
And it's a drama.
More superpowers would have been nice.
Superheroes would have been cool. Yeah. It's cool. Because like no other, I don't know, nothing in like a crime drama had ever been so I just really like Breaking Bad, and we're so over time because I got on that Breaking Bad rant. I'm sorry, we didn't even get to talk about Avatar.
It's all right.
But
I had a hella Avatar rant at the beginning. I'm good. We're good. We could have a part 2 of TV shows because like clearly we very much have a lot to say.
That'd be sick.
I found a quiz.
Okay, tight. You'll just have to tell me the name of it.
These 9 questions will tell you.
Sorry.
Yeah, these 9 questions will tell you what cartoon character you are most like. Really rolls off the tongue. I'm going to link it just so I have it when we're uploading the podcast. So, cool.
How would your friends describe you? Ditzy, smart, clumsy, funny, cynical, or cocky?
Okay, Disney smart. I don't know. I feel like none of these really. I guess
I would say you're smart,
but smart
and funny.
Thanks. Oh, you.
Thank you.
I would say the same for you, except I'm like, it's just that this is a strange selection.
I'm gonna go with funny for myself.
I would go with smart or funny for you.
Thank you.
You are asked to fill in a spot at a local talent show. What do you do? I just walk around in circles, I guess. I already have a musical solo prepared. I try my hardest to do a magic show.
That sort of implies that you're going to fail.
That's what I like. Yeah, that's what I like. It's like you're trying. Doesn't mean you're going to do it. I tell a few jokes and hope it entertains a crowd. I refuse to do it. That's the one. I don't plan a talent. I just wing it. Dang. I think of these options, most realistically, I would probably just refuse to do it because, yeah, I mean, there's musical solo. I could do that, but what are the chances I would do that? Just get on stage. Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
That's sick. I think I'll just go up there and tell some jokes and just try it out.
Nice. This is a bit on the nose. Choose a cartoon character.
Oh, yeah, they're not even trying. Jerry Mouse.
Barney Grumble from Simpsons.
That's his name?
What? Who?
Jerry Mouse?
Yeah, Jerry. Tom and Jerry.
I know, but
Tom
his
Cat?
last name is Mouse?
Jerry Mouse. Well, yeah, because Tom is Tomcat.
I never put that together. Jerry Mouse. What a bad name.
I don't know why it's Jerry Mouse, but I get why.
I get Tom
I feel like
Cat.
they came up with Tom Cat and like, oh, that's smart. And then they're like, oh, I guess this is Jerry Mouse.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's fine. So there's Barney Grumble. I never knew that was his name from The Simpsons. Jody Abigail Landon from Daria. Is that the
Yeah,
show?
I was going to say it looks like Beavis and Butthead, but I think you're right. It's like a spinoff.
Yeah. There's Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob, Scooby-Doo from Scooby-Doo, Louise Belcher from Bob's Burgers, and Jerry Mouse from Tom and Jerry.
I know that literally everyone who takes this quiz probably chooses Louise.
Really? I was going to say I want to be Sandy. She does karate.
Oh, yeah, that's
Cheeks.
dope.
That's me.
I'm going to do Scooby-Doo.
Nice. How do you do under pressure? I flap around and really crumble under pressure.
Flap.
I just try to laugh my way through it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me really. I like an audience and more pressure. Okay, nobody. To be honest, I don't do well with or without pressure. All right, I'm great with it. The more pressure, the better.
Huh. Pretty much all of these are like, I'm fine with it. And then there's one that's like, I can't handle anything.
I'm going to go with the I flap around and crumble under pressure. That sounds a lot like me.
I say I just try to laugh.
Granted, without pressure, maybe without pressure, I wouldn't do anything. I don't even know.
I feel that. Choose a TV
No,
show.
I think I would. I would just be less stressed. Yeah. I have ambitions, so... Yeah. Which one are you choosing?
Okay, there's Popeye, Malcolm in the Middle, BoJack Horseman, One Day at a Time.
Oh, I meant the one before that.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I just try to laugh my way through it. I feel like that's what I do. To the point that it gets me in trouble. Like, I'll be in a fight with a significant other, or no, I mean, not a fight, an argument, you know. And then they'll be mad at me, and I'll start laughing, and I'll be like, I'm really sorry that I'm laughing right now. It's not because what I think, you know, it's not because I think what you're saying is funny. It's because I'm really uncomfortable, and I'm laughing and I'm sorry. And it used to get me in trouble as a kid. Like, my mom would yell at me and I'd start laughing, you know, something like that. So,
oh no,
I think that one works for me.
I feel that it's kind of the pressure of like, I can't laugh right now. The worst has been at funerals. I'm like, oh no, I absolutely can't laugh right now. And then my brain is like, oh man,
remember a meme?
You know, it would be funny. And I'm like, oh no. Yeah, right.
Your brain's like 24.
I used to get 24. You know what's funny? 24? 25. I was trying not to die laughing once in English class. Then from outside the window, I'm sitting next to my best friend. From outside the window, there's this screech from a bird that sounds like just a fucking falcon. I was like, it's one of those things that's not that funny, but in that moment, I'm like, 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I feel you. Choose a TV show. Popeye, Malcolm in the Middle, BoJack Horseman, One Day at a Time, Blackish, or Arthur. I'm gonna go One Day at a Time. I love that show.
Honestly, I never really got into any of these, but I feel like BoJack Horseman is the one I'm gonna go with.
I tried to watch it. I couldn't. Sue me. I know he's asexual. It doesn't make the show better for me.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing too. I'm like, this is just too dark for me to enjoy it, but it's nice. It's
too like all one level, low energy, apathy, and I'm already. I need. Give me some superpowers and shit. Like, I'm apathetic every day. I don't watch TV to be, you know.
Of course.
What interests you the most? My family and what is going on with them. Fake people and their ridiculousness. I'm gonna try and avoid.
There you go.
That word. Myself. I don't know. Science, politics, everything. Or I take an interest in a lot of things, but I'm not particularly knowledgeable in those subjects. Wow, just call me right the fuck out, I guess. What? But how's that an interest? Okay.
This isn't very good.
I want to say like no.
I want one that's like, I like 3 things and I like them the most, and they're the only things that I like. Like, you know, that's
yeah, like I have special interests. Yeah. Is there an option? I'm gonna go with science, politics, everything, because that sounds the most like a special interest to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too then.
Choose a character that isn't a cartoon.
Oh my god.
April Ludgate?
Yes, from Parks and Rec. She's my favorite.
I don't know. Oh, okay, cool. Barney Stinson, Andre Dre Johnson Sr. Wow, I can't read. Mindy Lahiri, Troy Barnes, or Dana Scully. Can I be none of them?
I'm doing April Ludgate all
I'm gonna be the first one.
Day. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the first one because she looks the most like the way I feel about the question. So. What were you like in school? I liked school but wasn't very good at it. I was a total teacher's pet and loved school. I enjoyed school and tried my hardest. I was a pretty average student, though. I was right. Okay, thanks. Sorry. I was a class clown. I was really smart and good at the learning part, but not bothered by the rest of it. I wasn't great, but was popular, so got through it. Fake.
Dang.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm a mix between the first and the second. I was sometimes a teacher's pet, not on purpose, just because I used to eat lunch with teachers because I had not a lot of friends.
So. Yeah, I feel like I could say I was the class clown because I was just always like doing shit to crack people up, but like not everyone. Like I had like 4 friends, but I do like really wild off the wall shit with them. I'm gonna go with that one because that's the closest to my situation. Because when it comes to like the academic part, depends. I wasn't good at it, but it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I was either really good at it because I had an engaging teacher who was able to adapt to my learning styles, or I had like 20% in the class total. So, which are your favorite shoes?
Okay.
Those boots that everyone wears that I don't like, flip-flops, bright orange heels, Converse, Doc Martens, or Nikes.
I'm gonna go with the Doc Martens. Let me ask you a question though. The boots at the top, is it because of the texture?
Yeah. I don't like the elastics on the side. I don't understand why they're there. Aesthetically, everything about them, about the shape of them, they don't look good in terms of aesthetics to me. The only reason they look good is because our eye adapts to seeing them and says, yeah, that's part of a well-balanced outfit, but it's actually not.
Yeah, they are kind of funky
so I'm
looking.
like, they have the exact same shape as Crocs. They do the same thing to your foot in terms of the shape. I don't like it. But otherwise, I'm like, you can wear them. It's fine. I would never be able to wear them. They don't look good. They don't fit the foot in a way that I like it.
Okay.
So, but maybe they're comfortable.
Valid.
Who knows? Except they're also made of leather, so heck that. I got my answer. Did you?
Who'd you get?
I got Lisa Simpson.
Oh, nice.
It says, I'm extremely astute and articulate. You have a great passion for listening to the underdog and doing everything in your power to change things for the better. You can sometimes find yourself correcting people a lot. Wow, rude. For example, you care a lot about grammar and spelling. Yeah, okay, sure. But ultimately, your heart is always in the right place. I can't spell. Have you seen my Twitter? Sir?
I've also texted you and had to take maybe a few seconds here and there to try to decipher certain things. I'll be like, surely he means this.
Every time I try to write to, I write go, and I can't see the difference. Every time I try to write it, I write if. There are just a couple of them. Or when I try to write no, it's like KWNW, and it's like, what do you fucking? So you kind of have to assume when it's like a word jumble.
I also
I try real hard.
I know that sometimes. Well, maybe for example, the other day, I texted you and I said, I can podcast today, but I think that you read it as I can't podcast today. And you were like, that's fine, we can do Friday or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I can do Friday.
Oh no, I was free.
And so I was just like, all right, yeah, that works for me too. But
I'm like,
not to just roast
not
you.
jokingly, I'm like actually dyslexic. That's like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, sorry, I'm dyslexic. I'm like, no, you don't. I've sat in like Manhattan Steakhouse because I thought it was Marathon Souvlaki, and I didn't know until they brought me the menu, and I was like, why is everything steak? And they looked at me like, where the fuck do you think you are, sir? Like, I legitimately, like, I could read, but it's a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this one isn't very accurate. I got Goofy, and the description of it is a bunch of bullshit. It's just like, you have a lot of energy, you're so eccentric and stuff, which is true sometimes, but not all the time. Yeah, this quiz didn't really get it for me. Well,
let us know what you got, and if you think it's precise.
Yeah, tell us the results to your quiz of this. Take this quiz and let us know. I hope you enjoyed this.
And tell us your favorites. Your favorite TV show.
Yeah, what's your favorite TV show and why? And that's it.
That's the whole thing. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. The outro is getting less and less.
It's falling apart.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
All right, bye.